Welcome back, guys, to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 5. I'm your co host, Jason. I'm joined, as always, by Travis. Travis, how's it hanging?
Am I a co-host today or just guest host?
You are an official co host, no
Are we sure?
doubts. I'm positive.
All right, I've been getting a lot of feedback saying I'm just a guest host. I just want to make sure.
Well, you're not a guest host, jabroni. You're full time here on the podcast. And Travis, for the uninitiated, this is a PlayStation podcast. It's a weekly podcast where we cover all the news in the PlayStation world, and we try to do it in under 90 minutes. And we usually even save our shenanigans till the very end. So I'm feeling pretty good this week. I think it's going to be a good episode. We've got a lot of news yet again, and the wife finally finished the art studio, aka the podcast studio. So I've gone from aqua blue to an off white
Get a nice
string of.
smell.
Yeah, it's a nice painty smell. It's a string of pearls to be
Is
precise.
that what it's called?
So yeah, that's string of pearls is the color. So it's a lot
Gotcha.
more homey. And
Yeah,
I've got some lamps in here now. It's a lot less harsh lighting.
it's a
So
yellow light. They say taupe
yeah,
is very soothing.
you're right. But I'm running the risk on a full belly of falling asleep in here by only using the soft white uh, lamp light.
That
So
would be hilarious. And just for the record, so the listeners know, you have fallen asleep a few times in the PS party.
here we go.
It
I
is
have.
great. You're like, "Where's Daly?" And there'll be like a long pause, and then and sometimes we don't know. He could be talking to his wife, maybe he muted his mic, maybe the dog came in, who knows? But occasionally, you'll hear a nice roaring snore, and that's when we know we got him.
Look, I try to push through. I try to push through for you guys, and even after a long day or a long week, I try to take one for the team and play with the boys.
Yeah,
And
sometimes we just
sometimes,
get stuck on a save point if we're done for
sometimes
the
I,
day.
sometimes I just nod off. I can't help it. So if you guys like what you hear at the podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, give us a review. Even if it's harsh, we'll try to get better, and share us with a friend if you can. And this is another stepping stone episode for us, Travis, because you now have an official podcasting microphone. You're a real podcaster now.
Yeah, I feel like Robin on the Howard Stern show. You're Howard, and I'm over here in my little booth as a guest host, just making comments.
I don't have nearly as much charisma as Howard Stern, though. Let's be
Well,
honest.
he's done a lot more drugs than you, so there might be something to that.
He's done a whole lot more cocaine. So, Travis, get us started here. Talk to us about what you've been playing this week.
So I got my band removed from Rocket League, and we play. What do we play? Played my first ranked match.
Mm,
Finally got decent enough to be competitive, and we only lost 2-1, which was better than I thought considering. I mean, we started out pretty poor. Maybe I was just a little excited. A little more pressure when it's ranked and you're dealing with other people's stats, and you don't want to make them look bad. We got through that. And then we played a lot of COD this week. And I finally got my gun game win.
you did. You borderline screamed last night when you got your gun game win.
Listen, and you made a comment right before that game that I'd been on fire that night, and I had been, and I came in what, second and third pretty much every game, and I couldn't
Yes.
get the throwing knife. And there was one game where I got to the throwing knife, and I think I was on it for a legitimate 2 or 3 minutes, and I
I was
couldn't. I
about
was just everywhere.
I was about to say, I think the game before you won, I remember for like probably 90 seconds you were on the throwing knife, and then I think you were 2 kills ahead of the next guy, and he just went on a little run there and beat you. So
Yeah, I was sweating, my hands were sweating, and when I was on that little streak there where I couldn't hit anybody, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't make a noise. I was
you did
locked in.
not.
Still didn't get anybody.
What else have you been playing? Anything, or just is that it?
We threw in a little Hunt Showdown, a little rusty, but it's still the 2 things about Hunt Showdown. One, it has probably the best menu music I've heard in a very long time, and
Correct.
the other part is and it's a little annoying when you die, but I do enjoy that you get new characters all the time.
Yeah, that's a cool twist to it. Like, your guy dies if you're trash like us, so you got to start with a new character, and then sometimes when you buy a new character, or not sometimes, every time when you buy a new character, just all of the equipment is just randomly generated.
Yeah.
So, you never know. You might have a shotgun or you might have a sniper rifle. So that is really cool.
Yeah, you get that bolt action thing. The little bolt, I guess it's a cross bolt.
Yeah.
I love it, but it's such a pain in the ass if there's 3 or 4 guys trying to get you.
Right. 'Cause you can shoot one and then that's like it takes forever to reload.
Yeah, and then you just get murdered by the butcher. I mean, I think that happened twice.
Well, I've been playing quite a few things this week, this past week. So I did finish The Last of Us 2.
Are you gonna give us your review or your
I'll give it to you. Yeah, give it to you in a nutshell with no spoilers. But I did finish that. I grinded that out last week. I played it for about 30 hours or so. It took me to beat it. I did not get the platinum. I just wanted to play the game and enjoy it. So it's a very good game. It is. I would give it around a 9.5, I think. So everything that I've been saying about it is true as far as the graphics and the systems and the mechanics and the animation. Everything is just it's top of the class. The two issues that I had with it were I thought that it was too long, a little bit too long for a game like that.
you thinking like 20 or 25?
Yeah, I mean, 15 to 20 hours would have been fine. And then the second issue that I had, I didn't see, I haven't heard very much about this, but I had some glitch issues. So there was a point where an NPC companion character fell through the map on me. And then he shot back up like he was in an elevator. So
That's
that was kind
perfect.
of so that was kind of weird for a Naughty Dog game. And then I had audio cut out a bunch, especially in the toward the end of the game. And then one of the weird things that happened to me toward the very end was, without spoiling anything, I could free these certain creatures to create a diversion, and I did that, and they just stood there making racket and like making like going through their animations, and then all the bad guys around them like had no reaction, and
Perfect.
neither did the creatures. They just stood in place. So that definitely was a glitch. So, just little things like that. But all in all, it's a great game. It's a can't miss. It's probably in my top 10 games ever. And
Not just PS4 ever.
yeah, I think ever. So after I enjoyed the story, I can see why some people have issues with it. But I found a good video on YouTube from this guy who got the game from Naughty Dog, kind of like a sponsored video, and he just went through the whole story. He broke everything down, and he pointed out a lot of things that I didn't make connections with, or that I didn't quite look at it that way. And after watching that, it makes complete sense.
Yeah,
And
fair
I
enough.
I, I appreciate the story a whole lot more after seeing like all the little kind of Easter eggs and
The
connections
nuance.
that he was making and everything. So yeah, it makes a lot more sense to me now. So I think it's really great, and I think it's definitely something that everybody should play.
And I guess devil advocate would be that you shouldn't have to watch that video to get the point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
It's a little different though. I bet if you played it twice, you'd have caught more of them.
yeah, so I took it. I guess partially, I guess it's my fault. So like, I took it at surface level when I was playing the game. Like, I was just
Mhm.
taking the story kind of as they were giving it to me. I guess that's kind of my fault. But like I said, he made a lot of those connections, and it made perfect sense. So, but yeah, you should. I don't know. Like, they expected a lot of you playing the game, I guess, from the story wise, to kind of just be invested in that way, which I was invested, but I wasn't trying to,
Like not like a movie.
yeah, not exactly. So anyway, but after watching that, I appreciate it a whole lot more. It's a great game. It's a really good story. So also been playing Modern Warfare, like you said, with you guys, and to varying degrees of success. Been playing Red Dead Online, of course, every day, getting my challenges. We won't talk about anything else about that. A little sore about that. Hunt Showdown, we mixed that in, like you said, and then I mixed in for the first time 2 Point Hospital. I know you know what this game is. We've
Yeah.
talked about it before.
Tell me a little bit about what you think.
I love it. I finished the like tutorial hospital, like the very first one that you get
Mhm.
that introduces you to the game. So I finished the mission or the challenges or whatever that checked all the boxes that will allow me to move on to the next hospital, but I can stay and still do some more things at the one I'm at. So I probably will do that, but it's It's funny and the controls work really well for the PS4, even though it's a PC game basically. And you and I both loved Theme Hospital back on the PlayStation 1.
Would you call it the same level?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
You can buy Theme Hospital as a PS1 classic right now and play it on PS Vita for sure and maybe PS4. So I've played Theme Hospital on the Vita in the past year and the game didn't really age well. Obviously, it's a PS1 game, so it's a little clunky to control now and stuff. So this is definitely a complete like spiritual successor
Complete overhaul.
to so actually some of the same people that worked on Theme Hospital worked on this game or work
Oh,
for
perfect.
two point yeah they work for 2 Point Studios that created this game. So there's that bloodline there, so to speak. So I know you're I know you were interested in it. I definitely recommend it to you. Like you would love it for sure. So if it's ever on sale, which it goes on sale pretty often now,
I'm
I
sure it
got
will
I
be.
got it on sale for $25. So and that
That's
it
not
goes
bad.
on yeah, it goes on sale for like every 3 weeks, I feel like. So it's definitely worth getting. And if you guys like sim games or strategy games, it's definitely one to put on your list.
In line with Prison Architect.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Travis, let's get into the news and rumors, I guess. There's some of those in here too. It's a big news week. They always start off slow and then they just kind of pick up as the week goes on. So, number one, Bloomberg reported on Wednesday that Sony is increasing production on their upcoming PlayStation 5 console. Sources familiar with the situation said that Sony has raised their production order from roughly 5 million units to now around 10 million units. The report states, quote, Sony began PS5 mass production in June and under the latest plan expects to assemble 5 million units by the end of September and another 5 million between October and December, end quote. However, shipping constraints may still mean that the console will be subject to supply droughts as the consoles are shipped by boat, believe it or not, to North America and Europe from China. Sony also doubled their order for the DualSense controller. Shout out to the DualSense pod from approximately 10 million to 20 million units. For comparison, Sony shipped 4.5 million PS4 units to retail by the end of 2013, and it took Sony until June of 2014 to ship 10 million units during the PS4 launch. So Sony's kind of doubling down here, Travis. What do you think? What do you make of it?
I know that we'll be on the first level pre-order list, so you'd hope we would have our hardware, but it does make me feel better, or I guess reassured that I'll get my hardware on day one. But the weird thing to me about all this is they put it on a boat, and I don't understand
Mm,
why you would take that risk of letting the boat sink. I guess look, I know airplanes can crash, especially if
yeah.
it's Malaysian Airlines, but I don't, a boat seems like a much worse idea. It's going to take longer. There seems like there's way more variables. Are
Mm,
there pirates in that part of the ocean? I'm not really sure. It just seems like a
probably.
bad idea.
We've both seen Captain Phillips. We know how this works.
I've seen Captain Phillips like 11 times.
So I do think it's odd, but I mean, a lot of stuff does get shipped by boat, but so that'll take them, a month. It'll take weeks to get here by boat from
Yeah.
China. So
You'd think if they were worried about launch, they would fly them in. It can't be that much more expensive, is it? Do you think it's just a cost thing?
so they talked about why they're not going to be able to fly all of them in. They will fly some of the consoles in, but the bulk of them will be shipped in by boat, and a lot of it has to do with the pandemic. There's just not as many flights being flown right now.
Gotcha.
So that's why they're having to pivot kind of more heavily to ocean liner to get them here, and well, all across the world, really. So
They just need to fly mine in day one. I don't care if anybody else doesn't get it.
exactly. So I think another thing to talk about here is that this means that Sony is more confident than they were before, maybe
Good point.
because they had ordered around between 5 and 6 million before for kind of the launch window between launch and March, basically, of 2021. And so they've doubled down on that. And I think that shows that they're getting more confident and that the interest that they're seeing, I guess, because they don't have pre-order numbers, so they have to be gauging that on social media
Pretty good
and
feedback.
things like that. So, like for instance, the PS5 reveal was one of the most watched. I think was the most watched video game YouTube video ever.
It's wild.
Yeah, or live stream maybe it was ever. And when they I think put out the PS5 logo on Instagram, like that was the most hit or most biggest impact Instagram post they've ever had, things like that. And I also think this might mean that they have found a price that internally that they've analyzed will
Do
not
well.
turn people, yeah, will do well and not turn people off.
Mhm.
I think this is positive also in that aspect that we're not going to get a very high priced console. Like I don't think we're going to have a $600 console now.
Nothing outrageous.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be $600. I don't even think it's going to be 550. I think it's going to be 500 for the disc and 400 for the digital
That
maybe.
would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that just means they found that sweet spot and they're feeling pretty confident about it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a fair point that I hadn't considered. And one thing I was thinking about today was, the dev kits, and there's certain games that are on both platforms, the new Xbox and the new PlayStation. It made me wonder if the devs have came back to them and were like, "Look, I know some of their numbers are higher, but you're so much further along than they are, or your quality is so much better than theirs, or maybe it runs so much smoother." I kind of wondered that because if they are getting positive feedback from the developers that's in line with kind of what people socially on social media are saying, you
Hmm.
gotta think that's a major green light.
That's an interesting point because they definitely would have access to that kind of data too. Like if Ubisoft says, "Hey, we've already got 3 million pre-orders for Assassin's Creed Valhalla," right? Which
Yeah.
there's not a PS5 specific pre-order available, but there's a PS4 one that you upgrade to PS5,
Mhm.
right? So you can extrapolate that out or whatever, and you can know that hey, you can analyze the data and figure out probably just based on game pre-orders at this point, kind of where you stand a little bit. So, and then
Yeah,
they're
they need the
also
console if they're gonna get like they do the PS5 pre-order on 2K, they need the system.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. And then the other thing too, I just thought about is so some retailers, some big box retailers, like Target, Best Buy, and maybe Amazon, like they now have pre-order notification email list signups. So
That's
they
right.
can probably get that data too and just say, hey, Target, how many people are signed up for your PS5 pre-order list? Oh, it's 500. It's 500,000. It's a million. It's 1.5. So you can probably gauge it that way too. It's looking pretty good, and that gives me hope that we'll both be able to get a pre-order in and not have to fight for it. Number two, Ghost of Tsushima reviews went live on Tuesday, and the game is officially a critical success. At the time of this recording, the game currently sits at an average score of 83 on Metacritic and 85 on OpenCritic. The game launched on Friday, and we will await sales figures to find out if this new IP from Sucker Punch Productions is also a commercial success. Reviewers of the game have reported that it will take between 30 and 50 hours to complete the game, depending upon your desired level of completion. So, Travis, today's the day. The day we were recording, which is Friday, is the day the game comes out. What do you think? It looks like it's been getting some pretty positive pub. Are you excited about the game?
Yeah, I try not to read too many of the reviews. I did watch one review just because I wanted to see kinda what the chained combat looked like before I started. I kinda wanted to have an idea. I'm stoked. I'm stoked that it got good reviews. I'm always a little worried when a game comes out that I'm excited about. I'm always a little afraid it's gonna get, some sort of terrible review, and then you're kinda I pre-ordered it, so it's like, "Oh, I'm stuck with this pre-order of this game," that got, like, a 50 on Metacritic. It's downloaded and ready to go. I haven't touched it yet. I'll get on when we finish this. That's probably what I'm gonna be doing tonight.
I installed mine earlier and downloaded the day one update, so I'm good to go too. I'm I'm thoroughly excited. It's the critical scores are about where I expected. In the 80s. I didn't expect it to be, a masterpiece, 10,
Yeah, I didn't
10,
either.
10 out of 10s, although it does have some perfect scores, things like that. But I didn't expect it. I knew there was no way it would get below an 80 on Meta. So I think this is about right. And that's kind of where new IPs live nowadays. Like when you come out with a new IP, it's usually either terrible or really good, but not necessarily a masterpiece. So, are you thinking about getting the platinum for this game? Considering that it's about 50 hours, and it sounds like you can have it. It doesn't sound like it's a hard platinum. It sounds like it's just a time consuming platinum. So, are you considering it? Are you thinking about getting your first one and becoming a real gamer, or what?
uh, I'll play through it once to see how close I am, and then I'll read through the I always read through the trophies in every
Yeah.
game I play, and if I get through it and it looks like something I don't care to do, I'll do it. If it's like, identify every bird in the game like on Red Dead, just forget it.
Mm,
I'm not doing
mm,
that. I don't
yeah.
wanna get onto a game at night, I have 2 or 3 hours to play games. I don't wanna get on and just wander on a map looking for birds. It just seems
Yeah.
so unproductive.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. I'm not gonna do that. That's the main reason. I mean, Red Dead 2 is my favorite game ever, and I have not gotten the platinum in that game because I do not have the patience to do that. So I am also really excited about the photo mode in Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
You know that I do the Instagram thing with gaming photography. So apparently, this is like one of the best photo modes that's ever been in a game. So that's exciting. It'll probably take me like 70 hours because I'll spend 20 hours
Yeah.
taking pictures. So
Which is fair enough, and all the customization on it, I think that'll be a trend we'll see moving forward with some other games. Maybe not right now, like Far Cry might not have it, but who knows moving forward. The next Sucker Punch IP thing will probably have it too.
number three, Ubisoft announced last Sunday that three of their top ranking executives were resigning from the company amid a wave of sexual misconduct and toxic culture allegations that have rattled the company. Chief Creative Officer, and I'm going to butcher these names, Serge Hascoe, Managing Director of Canadian Studios Giannis Malat maybe, and the Global Head of HR Cecil Cornett, the easiest of the three, are all no longer with the company. CEO Yves Guillemot said in the news release that he will be filling Hascoe's role on an interim basis, and he will manage a quote complete overhaul of the way in which the creative teams collaborate end quote. So this is a huge shakeup at Ubisoft, Travis. They're kind of cleaning house in a way from after all of these sexual misconduct allegations, and they've already kind of shuffled some people within studios, moved them into sort of like studio head positions and things like that. But this is a big shakeup for them. What do you think about this?
By complete overhaul of the way they operate, does he mean without sexual assaults?
I think that's the optimal
Yeah,
goal.
that would be a hot move. Isn't it interesting that when you see these people in these power positions and these companies, and this is like before I guess this is after the Me Too movement, it seems much more common than you would expect and in different areas than you would expect across all businesses. It's just interesting to me that Ubisoft seems to have so many of them, or at least so many people willing to speak out.
Yeah, it's such a huge company that I feel like there's no way that this was not going to come out. But it sounds like that this has been going on for a while, right? Like,
Yeah, like a culture almost.
it had been covered up, and people had been kind of pressured and into not saying anything. And I think people had even been like bought gifts or
Oh, nice.
given gift cards and things like this to like be quiet or not say anything. Really, really tough situation, and it's not a great situation for those people who were victims. And it's a good thing that Ubisoft is taking it so seriously. They've obviously fired several top executives, so hopefully they can get it cleaned up, and everybody will be all the better for it. Number four, Summer Game Fest producer Geoff Keighley hosted a hands-on with the DualSense controller live stream on Friday. Keeley got to play the Astros Playroom game that comes preloaded on all PS5s to demo the controller's features. Keeley relayed that the DualSense is indeed a bit larger and a bit heavier than the DualShock 4 of the PlayStation 4, but it makes it feel sturdier, he said. The adaptive triggers were shown having tension while loading up a spring jump with the character, and it also required Keeley to blow into the controller's microphone at one point. The demo also showed Keeley earning some form of PlayStation currency, perhaps for a later use. He also revealed that Astral's Playroom is not simply a short demo, but rather a multi hour game in which he only got to play one section. The video concluded with an interview of PlayStation Worldwide Head of Marketing, Eric Limpel, Limpel discussed a few things of note, including that the upcoming Ratchet and Clank game shown during the PS5 reveal event would have to be fundamentally changed in order to run on the PlayStation 4, reinforcing Sony's strong belief in true console generations. He also hinted that there will be future color variations of both the PlayStation 5 console and the DualSense controller, which they have kind of hinted at before also. And finally, Limpel shared that Sony will provide plenty of advance notice for PlayStation 5 pre orders through official channels. So everybody can quit camping out at stores and believing random rumors on Twitter. All right, so there's a lot to take in there, Travis. What do you think, first of all, about the controller? And then secondarily, about the other little tidbits there that Limpel shared with us?
I thought the load up jump was pretty sweet on the video I watched, and if you noticed, he was kind of angling the controller to move or jump or kind of
Yeah.
direct his character.
Yeah, that
And
was cool.
what what's funny to me is when I first saw it, I thought that's going to be really irritating to learn how to do, and then I was like, I'd do that anyway.
Right. It's like,
I don't even know I'm doing it. I know I do it.
yeah, it's like one of those things like when you are in a racing game or whatever and you like kind of lean to the left or lean to the right, you know?
Yeah, and the I know the currency thing kind of got some traction there. And my
Yeah, that was
question was,
interesting.
is that something that you can just use in that game?
That's my question.
It kinda reminded me of, Sonic's rings or,
Mm,
I don't really know exactly what that means. I guess it could be anything, but,
yeah.
that could be cool if you could use them kind of, maybe you can use them on PlayStation Now or something, 5,000 coins let you, get a dollar or something.
Yeah, that would be cool. That's kind of what I was thinking too. That would be really cool if they could build that into the ecosystem somehow. What did you think about what he said about the difference in the console generations and how games built for PlayStation 5 they would have to be fundamentally changed to run on PS4 because we've kind of seen the competition take the opposite stance in that like and saying basically that they want nobody to be cut off. They want those games that are going to be on their next gen console to be able to be played on the Xbox One for a while. So, what do you think about that? Having a true generation?
Why have a new generation if it's not true? What Xbox is doing sounds like some liberal bullshit to me. Like, let's include everybody. What are we doing? Like, I made the PS5 for it to be better. There's no reason to keep producing things at a PS4 quality. Like when you get to the majors, you don't worry about AAA anymore. I'm a major leaguer now. So to me, it's the same thing. Like if I'm going to put in all
Yeah,
this effort to make a new system, to make a new game, and make a new controller, do all this other stuff, like forget the PS4. We're moving on now, and that's hey, it is what it is. And to me, trying to keep the other console alive is another example of Microsoft not really knowing their identity.
yeah, I agree with that. I think that is the point of new hardware. You want to push the limits. You want to push things forward. You want to be able to do new things with games and with hardware. And they've said that the PS4 is going to be around for a while after the fact. That's great. Like,
Sure, so's the 2 now. People still play them.
yeah, there's 100 million out there. Of course, it makes sense to not say, "Oh, hey, PS4, it's toast. We're done with it." I'm sure there will still be games. There's going to still be games that come out on PlayStation 4. There will for 2 3 years, maybe more than that. Like that's fine. But in the first party, you have to make that break and you have to get ready and push forward to the next generation for sure. So I'm with you on that. Number five, NPD Group revealed the list of top selling games in the US for the month of June. And not surprisingly, The Last of Us Part 2 debuts at the top of the list for the month, while also being the third best selling game of the entire year to this point. The NPD list covers both physical and digital sales across consoles and PC for June, and the list is as follows. Number 1, The Last of Us Part 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Grand Theft Auto 5, Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2, Ring Fit Adventure, NBA 2K20, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Minecraft Dungeons, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Minecraft PlayStation 4 Edition, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Borderlands 3, Need for Speed Heat, Persona 4 Golden, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and finally Assassin's Creed Odyssey rounds out the list. So Travis, The Last of Us Part 2 was on the market for 10 or 11 days in the month of June and dethroned Call of Duty Modern Warfare for the number one spot in sales. And they also took the number three spot for the entire year. So, what do you think about that?
That's pretty wild for them, but we kinda expected that game to sell like that. I'm kinda curious to see what the July numbers look like. I've seen a few stories that said all the kinda negative attention have dropped the sales a little bit, and in
Hmm.
certain markets, they're selling, like, like, buy a Switch and you can get The Last of Us for, like, 40 bucks. I've seen that a couple of times in some of the Asian markets pop up
Hmm.
on Twitter, so I'm curious how true that is. I guess we'll have to wait until next month to kinda get a full barometer of if that was kinda pre-sale numbers or if it kinda carried through.
Yeah, I think once we see the month of July and if The Last of Us is still at the top at number one, I mean, they've already sold, millions of copies, obviously, but if it takes the top of the list for the month of July too, then they've done pretty well for themselves. So it's impressive only 10 or 11 days to take the number one spot, and it's always hard to dethrone Call of Duty. So it's impressive. Number three best selling game of the year. That's crazy. Number six, it appears that the Uncharted movie is happening at long last. After spending what seems like an eternity in production hell, losing various directors, writers, and actors, star Tom Holland posted a picture of his set chair emblazoned with the name Nate on Instagram. A Sony representative told website IGN that preparations are underway and that filming is, quote, hoping to start soon, end quote. The movie is scheduled to release on July 16th, 2021, and stars Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully. The movie is being directed by Ruben Fleischer, who is best known for directing the Zombieland films with Woody Harrelson. What do you think? Does an Uncharted movie get you excited at all?
It helps that I like the director. I love the Zombieland movies, and,
Yeah.
who hasn't liked Tom Holland thus far? Marky Mark as Sully is hilarious to me, but he seems like a goofy enough person to pull off that character, and this is gonna sound like a real fanboy, but I kinda hope the voice actor that played Nathan Drake gets some sort of cameo.
Yeah, Nolan North, that would be super cool.
Yeah, and part of me was like, "Well, why can't he just play Nathan Drake anyway?" Like, nobody knows the character better than him except for maybe the writer, but, I'm
Yeah,
sure he's not as handsome as Tom Holland.
correct. He's also got some gray in his hair, I think, so that's a challenge too, but I gotta tell you, I do not like Mark Wahlberg as Sully. In the games, we know that Sully is an older guy, he's got gray hair, a mustache, and everything, right? So, Mark Wahlberg as Sully, I just don't see that at all.
Mark Wahlberg is like 50. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that, but he doesn't look 50 at all, he's, like, jacked, he's still got that Marky Mark thing going on, you know?
Well, none of them do. They are vampires.
They get all this Botox, man.
Well, who would you put as Sully?
I mean, somebody like Tommy Lee Jones is probably too old, but somebody like Tommy Lee Jones or like Josh Brolin or
Ooh, Josh Brolin. That's a good one.
somebody like that kind of interests me. Like, what I'm saying? Just kind of rugged, but like witty a little bit
Yeah,
too, I don't know.
it needs to be a rugged guy. I don't know if Mark is rugged enough for what we kinda think. I say that, and he grew up in Boston and got in fights and stuff,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But hopefully this movie actually happens. They still haven't officially started filming. It sounds like they're inching closer, but I mean, I'll go watch it. It sounds cool, and it's got some good star power behind it. So hopefully they can do the IP justice and maybe make a run of movies at it too. Number seven, Ubisoft held their digital event, Ubisoft Forward, on Sunday and revealed and confirmed lots of new information on several of their upcoming releases. We were treated to a somewhat deep dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla with in game footage that showcased the raiding, combat, and stealth aspects of the game. Raiding will take place through adventuring out on your Viking longboat, it would seem, while combat looked very similar to Odyssey, albeit more weighty and brutal, as we discussed last week. And the stealth mechanics are notably pivoting back to the signature hood and hidden blade approach of the past AC games. It was briefly shown in the video. Finally, it was revealed that Assassin's Creed Valhalla launches on November the 17th. Following the showcase in a series of interviews, Ubisoft revealed that Valhalla will not have traditional side quests and instead will opt for world events, and also that the player can switch between the male and female versions of Eivor at any time, which is apparently part of a larger in-game mystery. So we'll stop there for a second, Travis, and talk about Assassin's Creed. Did you watch any of this reveal trailer or kind of showcase that they did?
Yeah, and we talked about it before how neither of us are great fans of the Odyssey gameplay, and I'm not really excited that it's feels so similar or looks so
Yeah.
similar, I guess. I haven't really tried it. That being said, it's always good to be back to the hood and hidden blade, but and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but video game logic kills me sometimes on some things. You know, like you put a hood on and they're like, "Where is he?" Like,
Yeah.
you just put a hood on,
Where
like
did it go? Yeah. So they're definitely getting back to that social stealth thing. So the clip in the video showed, the guy or the character putting the hood on, like you said, and everybody just him vanishing to everybody. And then it showed him kind of walking in a crowd and blending in as he walked into a castle. So that was really cool.
and this is the first game where the character is gender fluid.
Yes.
I mean, you gotta love that. What do they mean by world events? Does that mean random things the computer can generate all kinds of new things, or does it mean like I could make something that's a challenge for you, kind of like how you could do those Hitman levels?
Yeah. So the way that I took it, I think I may have read something about this after the fact, but their thought process there is that, look, hey, you're Vikings, you just landed in England. You don't have friends. Like, you don't have allies, you don't have friends, you don't have anybody who's going to hand out a side quest to you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
you're not just going to go out in the English countryside and find somebody necessarily. So, I think what they're saying with world events is like, okay, there's this battle over here where King whoever is fighting King whoever. You can go take part in it and you can pick a side and fight that battle, and that'll unfold part of that story within the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's more. I use the term realistic, but that would be kind of more what you'd experience, I would presume. I've never been a Viking, but if I was a Viking, I would expect that to be more like the case.
Right. Exactly. So I'm excited about it. Then the switching back and forth between male and female, they've kind of alluded to the fact of that's going to play in somehow to like the Norse mythology, and maybe you're not who you seem to be and that sort of thing. So we'll see how they do
Yeah.
that one.
It feels like something I've read about before with the mythology. Now that you say that, that feels like I've maybe read something where maybe a god wasn't who they thought they were, and they turned out to. I don't know. That sounds like it's vaguely familiar.
We also got a look at Far Cry 6, not necessarily a look, but a cinematic trailer teasing the game's setting and story, which features Breaking Bad's Giancarlo Esposito, as we discussed last week. And at the end of the trailer, we received confirmation that Far Cry 6 launches on February 18th, with free next gen upgrades available for those who purchase current gen versions of the game. So, again, they're still throwing out there that you'll get a free next gen upgrade, which I think is so odd that the next gen version won't be ready on in February. So that's weird.
Hmm.
But we do know that Giancarlo Esposito is the main bad guy. So the game looks cool. The setting looks cool. It's kind of loosely based on Cuba. So what do you think? Did that pique your interest anymore?
Yeah. Did you? It almost seems like his son is a little more normal than he is his character. Giancarlo's character is definitely a dictator that will do whatever it takes. I think they actually even say that in the trailer. But his
Hmm.
kid appears to be more normal and not a psychopath. But did you notice the horns on his head on that post making the media rounds?
Yeah, on the box art, you pointed that out to me. That's really cool. It's a neat little like Easter egg, I guess.
I hope it's not an Easter egg and people just read too much into it. That's much more interesting to me.
Yeah, there's a theory out there that the boy in this game that this game's a prequel and that the boy in this game becomes the bad guy who is in Far Cry 3
Oh yeah,
Who is Nacho Varga from Breaking Bad or
that
from
would be awesome.
Better Call Saul. So
I love that actually.
yeah, there's that conspiracy theory out there. We also got a look at Watch Dogs Legion, Travis, which was also featured in the showcase with a deep dive similar to what we saw for Valhalla. Gameplay footage revealed how players will be able to utilize characters' special skill sets and abilities, and also how each scenario can be handled in a multitude of ways depending on which character you're playing with. Players can have up to 20 characters on their roster at a time, and we also learned that Legion will launch on October the 29th. Did you watch this part of the show? What did you think about Legion?
No, I missed this part. I must have got distracted by a sim race or something. But I do like with the 20 characters, you legit have a legion. I think that sounds badass for what that game
Yeah,
is.
it's really cool that you can kind of recruit pretty much anybody in the game world.
Yeah, that's really cool too.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it sounds like from what I read after the fact that they delayed from like March of this year to obviously the end of October, and they've used that extra time to evolve the way that the skills work with the characters and kind of make them a little bit more detailed or complex. And
Mhm.
you'll have more variety in how you can play with the different character archetypes. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one, man. The only thing that's I'm gonna get it for sure and play it. The only thing that's holding me back is when I'm gonna do that because I will have Cyberpunk at the launch of the PS5, so it's gonna might have to wait a little bit.
And the cool thing that Ubisoft did here though is I thought they did a really good job of explaining what they did during the delay, and I feel like some developers missed the boat on that. Just as a consumer, I like to know exactly what they were doing and exactly why I didn't get something. It just makes me feel like we're on the same team and you're not just hiding it or keeping it back for some crazy reason.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. Like, just tell us what you've been doing. I think that's really neat, and it was cool to know that they actually had taken the time not to just fix bugs or whatever, but to kind of make the game better. So that's always encouraging. Finally, Travis, Ubisoft revealed in the pre-show portion of the stream that a Ghost Recon Breakpoint AI teammates trailer, sorry, they revealed a trailer and shared that they will be coming to the game, meaning the AI teammates, on July the 15th. So they're already out at the time of this recording via a free update. So now they've finally, after promising that this was coming to Ghost Recon, after all these months, it's finally in the game. Does this pique your interest at all? Having the AI teammates in the game?
Not really. That's just it's 100% co-op game to me.
Yeah,
I guess the AI could be useful, but again, it goes back to how intelligent are the AI. If they're just kind of in the way or not helping, it's kind of pointless. Like most AIs, I feel like like if I'm playing Uncharted and Sully's over there helping me with something, I feel like half the time he's just shooting into the air and rolling around. I'm doing all the work. Like
right.
I don't even need him.
It's great that they're adding this in. People have asked for it for a long time. The problem, I think, because you and I have played the game, is that the game is just still going to be stupid hard. Like,
Yeah,
unless you just totally turn all the settings down to where you kind of lose the soul of the game, so to speak, it's hard. It's nearly impossible. You just everything sees you and kills you and drones, and hard to hide and hard to be stealthy at some point. So I don't know if these guys can really help you. The AI would have to be, like you said, stupid good. So guess we'll
yeah.
see.
It's like the stealth mechanic is broken or something. At least that's how I felt.
Number 8, in an interview with website WCCF Tech, indie developer Ryan Shaw spoke about the downside of games no longer having loading screens. Shaw discussed how developers, particularly those of big RPGs, have historically used loading screens to share universal lore, gameplay tips, and other useful information. Later in the week, Sucker Punch Productions revealed that they artificially increased load times in Ghost of Tsushima from, quote, more than a fraction of a second, end quote, because they noticed that playtesters were unable to read any of the game tips information in between deaths. So, this is an interesting little tweak to the conversation about next generation, so to speak, in that it's great that we're, getting these drastically reduced loading times, but kind of at what cost? So, what do you think about this?
Oh, my initial reaction is to just be better as a developer, be more creative. They could use the cutscenes like they do in Hideo Kojima does. Why can't they use cutscenes like that to explain lore? As far as the tips go, can I not learn that in like training or a tutorial or build it into the gameplay where you learn it naturally, more seamlessly? Like, I don't know. It's like gamers as a consumer, we don't want to set at loading times forever. And like we said, they've used cutscenes and other little things to hide loading times forever, and now we finally get rid of them, and they're gonna complain. That seems kinda silly to me.
I think that people are just going to have to pivot. You're just going to have to do business a different way, so to speak. So, kind of like what you said, you're just going to have to utilize more in-game pop-ups and tips. Like some games already do, right? Like when you're
Yeah.
in the middle of an activity, it pops up and says, "Oh, try pressing R2 to do whatever. So you're just going to have to do it that way if this is going to be a priority, meaning a priority to make games load quicker, to be more seamless, and so to speak. So just going to have to change the way that they do things a little bit. Number nine, Konami announced it will not be releasing a new Pro Evolution Soccer game this year and will instead be releasing an updated edition of PES 2020 with the latest player data and club rosters for $29.99. The team is currently developing the next iteration of PES from the ground up for next generation consoles after switching from Konami's proprietary Fox engine to Unreal Engine, and that game will be out sometime in 2021. The current PES season update, as it is called, will release this September the 15th. So this is kind of interesting. This is the first sort of sports game that we've seen just charge you for like an annual update, basically, of the rosters and things like that. So what do you think about this?
I think we're only seeing that because the new console and they're changing engines. There's people that like PES more than FIFA anyway, especially in Europe. And based off of the engine switch and the fact that they're just offering an update to get ready for the PS5 release, if I was EA Sports, I'd kind of have an eye on that. They're up to something. They're locked and loaded for the PS5. Like they're going to come out hard.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely onto something. The fact that they're switching from their own proprietary engine to Unreal Engine, which
It's fascinating.
yeah, which we saw in that Unreal Engine 5 demo from a few weeks back, that it's going to be insane. And it just sounds like they basically have said, look, we're just going to go all in on this. We're making the change. We're not going to be ready this year. We're going to devote all of our resources to doing it the right way on that. And so here's this update with new club data, and, just deal with it. And we're going to do better next year when we come out full force for the next gen. So that's kind of cool. But at the same time, kind of on the other side of the coin, is this shows us, though, however, that the annualized sports game developers can do this. They can do a $30 season update. Like, it's possible, right?
Yeah.
And
Theoretically, there's nothing stopping them except for profit.
capitalism. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
capitalism. But alas, we'll probably never get that model. It would be cool if we did, but we'll see. Number 10, a new game mode titled The Yard will make its debut in the upcoming Madden 21, Forbes has reported. A Twitter user named Cameron Mertz gained early access to Madden 21 and shared screenshots of the game, which reveals that the mode is a 6-on-6 game where you play with backyard rules. Speculation is that the inclusion of this mode is a tactical move against the future release of a non simulation NFL game that 2K Games is currently producing, much in the vein of the NBA Playgrounds games. What do you think about this? About EA basically trying to undercut what 2K is surely working on?
I suppose that might be their idea, but we still know that those will be different games. I mean, the playground game is going to be more comical, especially with the art. It's going to be more like NFL Street. Yeah, it's going to be licensed with NFL, but it's not going to have every player. It's just going to be a different arcadey feel, if that makes sense. It's not a simulation like Madden likes to say they are. Um, but another thing is 6-on-6 is it's gaining popularity in real life. Like there's a lot of people that play 6-on-6 football all year, and a
Hmm.
lot of people link that to the popularity of the air raid and the lack of the running game we see sometimes in different colleges now.
Yeah, I had not thought about that, but that makes sense as far as Madden may do the 6-on-6, but it's still going to be not cartoony and everything, as you said. It's just going to be six players on the fit. It's going to be the same, look and feel. It's just going to be six players and six players
Yeah,
type of
like the
thing.
linemen are gone. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good point. They'll probably differentiate themselves enough, you would think.
Yeah, you think.
Number 11, the upcoming Marvel's Avengers game that is in development at Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics will have a closed beta beginning on August 7th for players who have pre-ordered the game on PS4, with an open beta phase beginning 1 week later for all PS4 owners. Crystal Dynamics revealed to IGN that the beta will contain a small mixture of everything the game has to offer. So, have you seen anything about this game? Has this got your attention at all, or? How do you feel about this?
No, I don't care about superhero movies. I'm burnt out, and I'm sure that Crystal Dynamics is going to learn a lot from the 14 people who have it pre-ordered on the alpha.
I gotta say, I do not hear anything about this game. Do you see anything about this game on social media?
I haven't seen anything. I don't know what the cover art looks like. I don't even know who you can play as,
This is
aside
the
from the Avengers, I assume.
right. This is the first big piece of news that I've actually heard about this game. So,
Did
which
they
is
forget they were doing it?
that's not good. It comes out in September. This is not good. I don't think this game is going to do well. I have seen some gameplay footage of it. It looks fine. It looks okay. It's not anything that we haven't seen before yet. I think they're marketing it as a co-op, like a persistent game, kind of like Destiny in a way. They'll add new characters and the world will change and you'll have these quests and everything like that. So I mean, that kind of sounds neat, but the other part for me personally is I'm not into the Marvel Avengers, universe and really
Yeah.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe altogether.
I like Deadpool. Is he an Avenger?
No, but he's a Marvel character, so
Okay, cool. There you go.
yeah. So I mean, it's an open beta. I'll probably try the open beta. I mean, why not? It's free, so maybe it will surprise me. Maybe it will surprise us. Number 12, publisher and developer Devolver Digital announced that their obstacle course battle royale game, Fall Guys, will release on August the 4th. The game has only been announced to release on PlayStation 4 and PC at this point, which would seem to coincide with a rumor that it will be featured as an August PS Plus game. It is worth noting that August the 4th, the game's release date, is also the first Tuesday of the month, which is when PS Plus games will go live for the month. Devolver did also tease on Twitter following the announcement that there was big news still to come for PS4 owners in regards to Fall Guys. This is interesting. We have seen this before with Devolver as far as the PS Plus deal.
Hmm.
For instance, Broforce is a Devolver game, and it launched as a PS Plus game. I'm pretty sure. So you know what Fall Guys is, right? Are you interested in this?
I like Broforce. We all like Broforce. I have hope, but like we said before, battle royale isn't really my thing. I don't know. I just feel like I waste a lot of time and it's boring. And I feel like battle royale is a lot of fun if you're gonna be gaming for 8 or 10 hours that day. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you
you
get into
just
a
got
rhythm.
time to yeah. You
I
got time
can't
to
do it.
commit to it because you're gonna if you die in 10 minutes, like if you die 10 minutes into the game, you can just launch it back up, so to speak.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like you said, if it's free, I'll give it a shot. But it doesn't scream to me like I need to have it.
I will say though, this game is a mix of I know we've talked about this several times before, but this game is a mix of like gang beasts with battle royale. So you're literally got like the little guys and you're running through the obstacle course and you slowly get kind of pared down,
Yeah,
culling the herd, so to speak. So it's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but like you said, if it's free, then absolutely. Number 13, Call of Duty 2020 seems to be getting closer to an announcement as the alleged code name for the game, the Red Door, has appeared yet again, this time on the Microsoft Store in the form of an Xbox One game listing, according to website VG247. The store page lists the game as a shooter and the publisher is Activision, while the game file size is listed as 82 gigabytes
that's
with
a
a
day one
rating
patch.
with the rating of mature. The Red Door has previously appeared on the PlayStation Store when alpha builds of the game made it onto the Sony servers last month. So Travis, it looks like we're getting closer to a Red Dead announcement. What do you think?
A
Or
Red Dead
A
announcement?
Red Dead,
Wow,
sorry. The Red Door threw me off. A
it's a
Call of
Freudian slip there.
that is. Oh man, that game has scarred me so bad. We're getting closer to a Call of Duty announcement. What do you think?
I love things like Red Door. They've used it so many times. I just like things like that. They make me happy. I feel like we usually have an idea of what Call of Duty is before now, or am I wrong about that?
No, we are. You're right. We are way late at this point. We definitely know at this point what Call of Duty is and the setting and everything like that.
So I wonder what that's about. I wonder if it's gonna have a later release date than we're used to, if it's not gonna come out until 2021, or if they've just done a really good job of keeping it a secret, which doesn't seem like anybody can do anymore. So I don't really know what I mean, I'm interested to see what it is. If it's Vietnam, which we've heard, that cool, let's do it. That would be my guess, but I just think it's interesting that it's taken them longer than normal. I just really wanna know what that means.
Yeah, the rumor out there is that it's going to be a Cold War, right? Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War, something like that. So
Cold War would be cool because you wouldn't do anything.
yeah, there is no war.
You just
Just
hang
stay
out
home, guys. Yeah, just
hang
stay
out, go
home.
see Jimmy Carter, whatever.
Just push some pencils. What's the matter, Dylan? See how you got you pushing too many pencils? So anyway, we'll see. It sounds like there's also some stuff out there on social media that says that we will know before August, basically by the end of the month, what the deal is with Call of Duty. So we'll wait to hear more. But it sounds like with this listing going up for the code name that we're inching closer. Number 14, Travis, we have several news nuggets that we need to run through here as well that we don't necessarily need to talk about, but if we need to jump in on one, we will. So I'll just start here with the first nugget. Dirt 5 developer Codemasters confirmed in a PlayStation blog post that the upcoming game will allow a free upgrade to the PlayStation 5 for those who purchase any version of Dirt 5 on PlayStation 4. Destiny 2's Beyond Light expansion has been delayed until November the 10th. Summer Game Fest announced a developer showcase for July 20th with new game reveals. EA Sports UFC 4 has been revealed and features several new additions to the game, including an overhauled career mode.
Have you seen what the overhaul career mode is? Have you seen the new edition?
I have not. Have you?
Yeah, you can do PEDs.
Can you also retire at any point and then just come back like a month later?
Yeah, and if you want, there's like you have to win the championship first, but you can go fight Floyd Mayweather for money.
Just get a payday.
Yeah, Dana White gets really mad if you do coke.
I did see there's no Joe Rogan in the game, so I'm out.
Yeah, I don't want to do UFC without Joe Rogan. What's the point?
Yeah, the game will launch on August the 14th. Also, Devolver Digital shared a gameplay trailer for Shadow Warrior 3 at their digital event and revealed that the game will release sometime in 2021. Website Video Games Chronicle reports that Ubisoft has rebooted its open world pirate game, Skull and Bones, in an effort to move away from the standard Ubisoft open world model of games in favor of a more persistent living world game.
That one actually sounds pretty cool. What is can you explain what they mean by persistent living world?
Yeah, I think they're just when people say that now, that's basically Destiny. Like think
Oh,
of
gotcha.
yeah, just think of Destiny.
On this podcast, we've talked a lot about Ubisoft. They've got a
Hmm.
lot of shit going on. There's 100 games. They're about to get 15 different lawsuits. Like, I don't know what's going on over there. It's
They're in the shit.
I mean, that's just production on all the wrong levels and the right levels.
Right? And this doesn't even they did not even talk about the Rainbow Six Quarantine game.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about the game called Gods and Monsters, which is like their answer to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's kind of like their answer to that. And I think there's one other game that they haven't talked about, but yeah, they've got a lot of irons in the fire. Also, Paradox Interactive, the strategy and simulation game publisher, has acquired Ice Flake Studios, which is the team behind post apocalyptic survival strategy simulator Surviving the Aftermath. In an interview with Game Crate, developer Techland stated that the upcoming Hellraid DLC for Dying Light will not be the game's final piece of support.
How are they still supporting this?
I don't know, man. I think the
They're
game came
making a
out in
new
like
game.
two. They're making a new game, and this game I think came out in like 2015.
Yeah, it's like 6
They
years old.
Yeah, they're
Are they
just
bored?
troopers, man. I don't
Yeah,
know. They're
they don't
just
sleep.
troopers. Yeah. I think they are just trying to support their fan base and they're doing a really good job with it. It's so crazy to think that a 5-year-old game still has DLC, like new DLC
Yeah.
coming out for it. Frontier Developments announced that their theme park simulator, Planet Coaster, will be coming to PS4 and PS5 this holiday. I
What are they
cannot
called?
wait. Frontier Developments.
Why isn't it Frontier?
What do you mean?
Frontier, like it's FROTNTIE. Isn't that Frontier?
Frontier Developments. What's wrong with the front?
Frontier. Are you? Because it's like you're saying like your French, like Frontier Developments. What are
God,
you
this is
doing?
like this is like assault and assault. We've
It's
talked
assault
about this.
rifle, not assault or whatever. How
It's
do
an
you say it?
assault.
You have mayonnaise in your mouth.
It's an assault rifle.
Thank you. Assault rifle.
No, I said assault, and you say assault. It's an
No,
assault rifle in your
it's
mind.
it's assault rifle, not assault.
Guys, we're going to war. Grab your assault rifles.
You don't enunciate it like that. That's how people listen. This is why NASCAR fans hate Jeff Gordon because he enunciates too
Oh,
well. So anyway, this is like what we talked about earlier with Theme Hospital and 2 Point Hospital. It's kind of like the roller coaster tycoon version of that.
I'm super stoked for this. I'm probably gonna get this immediately. Did you watch the gameplay trailer that they put out for this?
Yeah, and I was all in, and the part that freaked me out was they were building. I assume it was a bathroom. It was some sort of building, and they were changing the way that the window looked, and then they were changing
Mm,
all this stuff around one of the statues, and I was like, I
yeah.
can't do that. I don't have the visual eye to like design. Just tell me what it looks like, and I'll put it somewhere.
Yeah, you can get from what exactly what you're talking about. You can get really in the weeds on it, and so that's cool if it's there. I don't know, like you said, I don't know that I'll do that very often, but I'm excited about that one. Developer Proletariat announced that Magic-based battle royale game Spellbreak will be free to play when it launches later this year. NBC's new streaming service Peacock will receive an app on the PlayStation 4 sometime during the week of July the 20th. Developer 3D Cloud's pirate action RPG, King of Seas, will release on PlayStation 4 this fall. The Elder Scrolls Online's new update, titled Stone Thorn, was announced to launch by October and will include several additions to the game, including group mounts. NIS America announced that several Danganronpa games will be delisted from the PlayStation Store beginning on August 31st. The delisted titles include Another Episode, Ultra Despair Girl, Trigger Happy Havoc, Goodbye Despair, and Killing Harmony.
Are any of those games related? Is Ultra Despair Girl and Goodbye Despair are they sequels? Because that could take two different, very different turns.
They have to be. I have no idea. I know very little about these games. I know that they're some type of, believe it or not, detective game,
Oh,
and that is it. It's a Japanese detective game. I don't know. You take that for what you will. No Man's Sky received another update this week titled Desolation, and it brings haunted, abandoned ships to the game for exploration. And along those same lines, and as a wrap up here, Travis, it has been 212 days since the last major content update to Red Dead Online.
sounds like we're gonna have to call the president, see what he can get from Rockstar. Did you know that No Man's Sky has had 10 updates since the Moonshine update on Red Dead?
Oh my god, don't you dare tell me that. That hurts so bad. I don't understand what's going on. So, we didn't talk about this. I did not put this in the notes, but Red Dead Online did get some pub this week across a lot of news outlets because the new thing now is the clown movement in the
Mhm.
game. Players organize themselves on Discord and Reddit and whatever. They dress their characters in clown outfits and they gather on servers and they just run around as clowns because we're all clowns for sitting around waiting 212 days since the last content update for Rockstar to give us some new shit.
Sometimes the internet is beautiful.
It is. It's even gotten to the point that on Reddit now, you can have flair in the Red Dead Online subreddit and you can label yourself as a clown. And I'm gladly, proudly labeled as a clown on
I
the
love it so
subreddit.
much.
Oh, man. I don't know what they're doing. All right, Travis, let's move on to our next segment here with this week's new game releases. Yet again, this week, no drop from the PlayStation blog or no list of games at all. So I had to turn to Old Faithful, the guys over at PlayStation Lifestyle, for this list that I'll share here. And just one list this week, but there are a couple of European only games that I'll sprinkle in here. In North America this week on PlayStation VR, we're getting Crisis, VR Dance Collider, and Let's Create Pottery VR.
Mhm.
That's a European game only this week
Did you watch any video on that?
on the Let's Create Pottery.
Yeah, there's a
No.
Patrick Swayze's ghost gets behind you and he helps you. He helps you. He helps you make some pottery.
Oh,
it's rated mature.
uh-huh.
Dance Collider sounds awful. Why the hell do I want to dance into somebody?
All these sound awful. Crisis Viaragade.
What does that even
Good.
mean?
I don't know. Just name it something
And
normal.
they made 2 of them. It's the second one.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That is the second one. How
'Cause
wonderful.
no, the first one was great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. On PS4, we're getting Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2, Crosscode, Distraint 2, Evan, Daniel, and Friends, F1 2020 70 edition. How many freaking editions are there of this game?
Shh.
The Great Perhaps, Hunting Simulator 2, Lanternium, whew, NASCAR Heat 5, Neon Abyss, Robo Zaro, which is a European only game, Rocket Arena, which we're going to play with the boys later, Root Double Before Crime Asterisk After Days Extended Edition. That's a
Oh,
European only game. Thank
yeah.
God you guys over there can keep it.
Yeah, why can't you guys name stuff like a normal country?
Jesus.
I mean, look, we may be fat, but we know how to name stuff.
We're fat and we love a V8 motor.
V8 motor.
Sushi Break, Sword Art Online, Alicization Lycoris, Month 1 Edition. Good
Have you ever
God.
found
Go on.
Uh-huh. Have you ever found a lycoris on a girl?
Oh God. Oh man. I may have to edit that one out. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, Ultra Hat Dimension. Void
Sounds
TRRLM
both of those
parentheses
both of those sound miserable.
semicolon // void terrarium.
What does that mean?
What is this shit? Who names this shit? God almighty, guys. What I mean, who is buying this? Good lord.
No telling.
I want to look that up just to see what type of game that is. That's probably a graphic novel. You bunch of freaking nerds out there. Jesus. All right. The last PS4 game this week, Wild True, learn, parentheses. Read that last week. What kind of game is that?
Why are there
Jesus,
just
guys.
parentheses holding nothing?
I don't know. This is copy and paste, so it's probably missing something. All right. We also get a PS Vita game this week, which is exciting. It's probably one of these bullshit games for a platinum trophy that these Ratalaika Games publisher guys put out. It's called
It looks like
Awesome.
it.
Yeah, it's called Awesome P2. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And that is all for the new games this week, Travis. All right, let's start to wrap this episode up. Now, Travis, I don't necessarily have a question or a comment or concern for you this week, but I wanted to share with you a little news nugget that I came across today that I thought was a little bit ridiculous. And I had never heard of this happening. I feel like this is something that only happens in California. Let me tell you what I came across today. I found a little news video on the Twitter, and they reported that a California firefighter was arrested by California Highway Patrol near Chula Vista while in the middle of responding to a crash on a California freeway. The reason for the arrest, you might ask? The firefighter parked the fire truck over the line while attending to injured citizens of a rollover crash. And they actually had the firefighter, Travis, on live news being handcuffed by the California Highway Patrol guy. And he's just talking shit to him while he's doing it. And he walks into his
Perfect.
patrol car and everything. So, what do you think about this? This is outrageous. They arrested the firefighter because he parked the fire truck, of all things, while they on too far over the line.
What line? There's not parking spaces. It's the middle of the damn highway.
I guess the emergency lane, but here's the
It's
thing.
a fucking emergency.
He even said he told them he's like yelling at the camera. He said I parked it at an angle because we're trying not to get hit by a car out here. Like it's in a
Yeah.
block. It's a blocking position.
He's following proto, buddy.
Yeah, and apparently this has happened before that a California Highway Patrol officer arrests a firefighter because apparently there is a law or a procedure. It has to be a law if they arrested him about how they park the fire trucks when they respond to these incidents. I feel like this is only something that happens in California. Like everywhere else, you just use common sense, right?
Yeah, we got a rollover victim. I'm going to worry about how I park the fire truck. I'm trying to get the
Yes.
dude out of the car. Who gives a shit? If it's a rollover, they're probably going to block the highway anyway, so what does it matter?
Call the fire brigade. All right, Travis, it's time for me to explain a game to you again this week. And I don't even know if it'll make the cut this week because we may be running a little long, but I've got a good one picked out for you. So this week I have for you a game called Until Dawn. Have you heard of this game?
Yeah.
Have you played it?
No.
I knew there was no shot you played it because it's a horror title and it came out in 2015. It's an interactive horror game. It's kind of like
Aren't
an
all
interact.
games interactive?
Okay, fair enough. It's an interactive movie basically in a game. And it was published by or developed by Supermassive Games. And it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive game, like I said, that launched in 2015. So, why don't you take a stab about what you think the plot of this game is, and then I will mansplain it to you as I always do.
Is this the one that stars the pregnant chick from Juno,
No, I don't
Ellen
know.
Page?
I don't know. I can't remember if she's in it or not, but I'll tell you, the Mr. Robot guy is in it. Freddie Mercury's in it.
Freddie Mercury's in it. Awesome.
Rami Malek.
Yeah, and his big teeth. Um, Until Dawn,
Yeah, horror game.
horror game. So obviously you're in the dark and you have to do something before dawn. You have
Mm.
until dawn and the timer goes off. Maybe at dawn, um, maybe no, they can be like I was gonna say like they're vampires and they melt in the sun, but that wouldn't make sense because then well, I guess then you'd be surviving until dawn. That would be the idea. My guess is it is a dark, scary setting, much like The Last of Us. You're wandering around, kind of like scavengery. Maybe you find some flashlights or some guns. You never have to eat because games don't worry about meals. And you're a girl, and Rami Malik is a bad guy or something like that. Maybe I want to say there's zombies or the undead
Mm.
or both. I guess those things are two different things. Anyway, and you're trapped like I want to say you're like in a rural environment, maybe kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And
You're pretty warm.
I can't decide if there's one bad guy or if it's just like creepy people.
You're not cheating, are you?
No, are you like kidnapped maybe, and you're stuck in like and it's like a game, so you have to escape the house before he catches you.
That's somewhat what's going on. I don't want to.
Anyway, but once you get to dawn, you win.
Yeah, that's the idea. So let me break it down for you. You're pretty close. You've hit some of the notes here. Until Dawn is a 2015 interactive drama survival horror video game developed by Supermassive Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. Players assume control of 8 young adults who have to survive on Blackwood Mountain when
Do
their
you
lives are
switch?
threatened.
How do you switch characters, or is it just when one dies, you pick another one?
Yeah, it switches for you, and at various points in the game, you have to make decisions that affect whether they survive.
Theoretically, there's no way to get through the game with all survivors.
You can. Yes,
Oh,
you can.
okay. So there's multiple endings.
Yes, there's several endings, kind of like Heavy Rain.
Gotcha.
The game features a butterfly effect system in which players must make choices that may change the story. All playable characters can survive or die, depending on the choices made. Players explore the environment from a third-person perspective and find that may help solve the mystery. All right, that's the flyover. Let me give you the plot.
So is there a way to win?
You're trying to survive, like you said, basically said, until dawn because that's when you can get help. So here we go. During a party at her lodge on Blackwood Mountain, a cruel prank causes Hannah Washington to run into the woods. Hannah's twin sister, Beth, finds her, but the two are pursued by a mysterious figure, resulting in them falling off a cliff's edge. No bodies are found by the police, and the sisters are declared missing. A year later, Hannah and Beth's brother, Josh, which is Rami Malek, invites the group from the previous party. Hannah's friend Samantha, Sam, as she's called in the game, Giddings, which is played by Hayden Panettiere, Josh's friend Christopher Hartley, and Chris's mutual love interest, Ashley Brown, new couple Emily Davis and Matt Taylor, Emily's ex-boyfriend, Mike Monroe, and Mike's new girlfriend, Jess Riley. They all come back to the lodge a year later, okay? Despite tensions between members of the group and reservations about returning after the tragedy that occurred, all 7 accept Josh's invitation. Each member of the group arrives at the lodge through a cable car before engaging in separate activities on the mountain.
So
As
we
the
are going back to the scene of the crime, and the only way to get there is cable car.
Yes, you have to do the
That's
cable car up to the lodge.
and people just never see this coming.
No, never see it coming. As the night progresses, Josh, Ashley, Chris, and Sam find themselves terrorized by a masked man in the lodge. Josh is bisected in a torture device set up by the masked man, who then pursues Sam through the building's lower levels. The masked man's torment of the friends culminates with Chris being ordered to shoot Ashley or himself under the threat of them both being killed by giant saw blades. So, like Saw the movie. Meanwhile, Jessica is abducted by an unknown individual during a tryst between her and Mike at the guest cabin. Mike's pursuit of her attacker leads him to an abandoned sanatorium, which contains information about a 1952 cave in on the mountain that trapped a group of miners. After discovering that the cable car's key is missing, Matt and Emily head to a radio tower to request help. The request is successfully received, but the responder states that the group will not be rescued until dawn due to a storm, and Emily falls into the mines when an attacker causes the tower to collapse. Looking for a way out, Emily stumbles upon the location where Beth and Hannah fell, with Beth's severed head located nearby.
Hmm.
Mike reunites with Sam just as the masked man appears before them and Ashley and Chris. The masked man reveals himself as Josh, Rami Malek, who orchestrated the events at the lodge as revenge for his sister's presumed deaths. Believing Josh killed Jessica, Mike has him bound in a shed to remain until the police arrive.
Why does he think that?
Because of the game that they were playing earlier, Jessica was abducted by Josh, basically, with his mask on.
Why does Josh want to kill everybody because his sister's dead? That isn't. I don't follow. Who's he blaming?
He's playing a prank, basically, because they played a prank on his sisters, which caused them to die.
Oh, so he's trying to scare him.
Yeah, yeah. Believing Josh killed Jessica, Mike has him bound in a shed to remain until the police arrive. At the lodge, Sam, Mike, Chris, Ashley, and if she escaped the mines, Emily are confronted by the flamethrower wielding stranger.
Awesome.
The Yes, the man Beth and Hannah encountered the night that they disappeared.
Yeah, the real killer.
The stranger reveals that the deaths on the mountain have been caused by wendigos, former humans who became malevolent creatures after resorting to cannibalism. Chris and the stranger travel to the shed to rescue Josh, but discover him missing, and the stranger is killed by a wendigo while attempting to return to the lodge. Suspecting that the cable car key is in Josh's possession, Mike heads back to the sanatorium to find him, while Sam pursues Mike to warn him about the wendigos. Sam and Mike discover Josh in the mines, whose weakened mental state has caused him to hallucinate his sisters and psychiatrist Dr. Alan Hill. Mike tries to lead Josh to safety, but they are separated when Josh is attacked by Hannah, who turned into a wendigo after consuming Beth's corpse.
Cool.
If Jessica and or Matt are still alive, they attempt to escape through the mines while evading wendigos. Mike and Sam return to the lodge to hold up in the basement with any other survivors, only to find it overrun by wendigos, including Hannah, one of the sisters that died. When a fight between the wendigos causes a gas leak, Mike and Sam work together to destroy the lodge, leading to an explosion that kills Hannah and the remaining wendigos inside. Following the explosion, rescue helicopters arrive to look for survivors. In the ending credits, any surviving characters, excluding Josh, are interviewed by the police about the events on the mountain. If Josh has survived, a post-credits scene depicts him eating the stranger's head as he transforms into a wendigo. So some of this is different than, because my playthrough was different than this, obviously. So some of this is new to me even. So what did you think about all that?
I'm just not interested when we take supernatural turns. I just don't care.
Yeah.
You
And
just
if
lose me.
I feel like every horror game does that too, right?
Yeah, we got to get wendigos, and we're making up all this stuff about the lore, and it's
Yeah.
almost like My issue with lore is if you're not gonna have multiple games or multiple stories, why do we even need to go that route? Because Wendigos don't exist in any other place. I don't know. It's like, if you're gonna have 4 games, then yeah, it's cool because it's like a thing. It's like like a troll or something, but I feel like if you're gonna go the route and you're gonna use this new kind of element, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna make one game, why not use something people are already familiar with? You could save that storytelling time or that explanation.
Yeah, and it's so when I remember when I played the game that I did not expect it to go that direction. Like I thought it was just going to be like this slasher thing, like a serial killer or whatever, and then it takes that turn and goes to the the Wendigo stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh man. So I
It
still
feels like
enjoyed.
2 different games to me.
It almost kind of is, to be honest. Like it felt like two acts, of a play.
Yeah.
And I remember still thinking that it was really cool just because of the gameplay and the making choices and the butterfly effect and everything. But anyway, so there you go. Now you have heard all about Until Dawn, and I spared you the horror and the jump scares of having to play
Yep.
it because I know
I
you'll
should
never
get the
do it.
platinum now.
You should go get the platinum now. All right, so let's wrap up the show. Travis, talk about what you're going to be doing this upcoming week. What games you're going to be playing?
Well, I plan on putting some real time into Ghost of Tsushima. 30 hours seems like a lot, but I know it's not once you get going.
Yeah.
How long was Red Dead?
Oh, geez. Probably 50, 60 hours maybe by the time you did side quests and things like that.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like it either, so I assume this game will be similar. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned before, I think one of our buddies hooked us up with Rocket Arena, so we're gonna give that a go. And then I'm sure we'll play a little COD. Just I was hot last night, so I'd like to see if I still got it. How long that lasts? It's usually pretty fleeting.
I don't know how Rocket Arena is going to go for us. We'll see. I'm not terribly excited for it, but I know you guys want to play it, so we'll check it out. I'll still be playing Modern Warfare this week as always. We'll mix that in a little bit probably. Definitely going to play Red Dead. Got to get my challenges and continue being a clown bozo over here. And like you said, I'm going to hopefully crush some Ghost of Tsushima and dive into that game. And we've got several months here between now and the PlayStation 5, so hopefully we can just kind of enjoy it, and it
Yeah, no
can
rush.
yeah, and it can help us fill that gap between now and the PS5. So think that's all I'll get into this week. And with that, Travis, we are done. That's all we've got this episode. If you guys enjoyed what you heard, be sure to rate us, review us, give us a subscription, and don't forget to share us with a friend. We hope that you will join us next week for episode 6. Travis, thanks for joining me to record. It was a little bumpy along the way, but we got through it. Hopefully, it comes out good in the wash.